everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about order of operations. But before we start learning about the order of operations, we're going to talk about the background history first. So say we have a question such as 7 plus 3 times 5, okay? And you tell two people to answer this question. Well, one person might say that they would do the 7 plus 3 first, and then they would multiply that answer with 5. So if we do 7 plus 3, that would be 10, and then we would multiply it by 5, and then the answer would be 50. But then this person, he would want to do it like 3 times 5 first, and then they want to add 7 to that answer. So they would do 3 times 5, which is 15, and then they would add the 7. And if we did that, we would get the answer of 22. So which one's the right answer? I mean, two people did it different ways and they got different answers. So which is the correct way you're supposed to do it? Which one's the right answer? So this is where the order of operations comes into play. The order of operations is basically a fixed way on how to solve a math problem, like which part you're supposed to do first, which part you're supposed to do second, so that for one problem, if many people do it, they'll all get the same answer because they do it a specific way. So this is why we have the order of operations. So basically, order of operations is basically a fixed way on how to solve a math problem. What to do first, what to do next, what to do third, which part of the math problem to solve first, second, third, or fourth. So say I put down an equation here. Say I put down the equation 10 divided by parentheses 3 plus 2 times 4 plus 5 squared. So how would I solve this math problem using order of operations? So in short form, the order of operations is PEMDAS. That's the short form. So what do each of these letters stand for? So the P stands for parentheses. The E stands for exponent. The M stands for multiplication. And the D stands for division. And I'll talk about just a minute why there's a line there. A stands for addition. And the S stands for subtraction. So this is order of operations. So you would do parentheses first in an equation, then you would do the exponent, simplify the exponent, and also if you don't really know how to do exponents yet, I'll leave a link to that right up here in the icons. Exponents second, and then multiplication and division, whichever comes first towards the left side. So division comes first on the left side, so you would do the division problem, and then you would do the multiplication problem, then you would do the multiplication division, finish that up, then you would do the same thing for addition and subtraction. Whichever one is closer to the left side, you would do that first. So what I mean by that is, let's actually work this out. In fact, I'm going to make this whole chart here a little bit tinier in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. Now we have it in tiny form. So now we're going to work out this problem using the PEMDAS. So first it says to do the parentheses, which is this part right here. So first we would do what's in the parentheses, whether it's addition, subtraction, division, or whatever. Sometimes in the parentheses there's more than one problem. Like sometimes it could be like 8 divided by 2 times 3. And so like how you would do this inside the parentheses is basically you would just do the PEMDAS, not the P part because you're doing it inside the parentheses, but the MDAS part, this part, inside the parentheses. But we don't have exponents to do, and we have multiplication and division that we can do. And how you would do the multiplication and division would be whichever one is closest to the left side. So we have division closest to the left side, so we're going to do that one first. So 8 divided by 2 would be 4, and then bring the rest of the numbers down. And then we do 4 times 3, which would equal 12, and we don't have any addition subtraction to do, so we're done, and we would go on with the rest of the question. But we're not gonna do that right now. First of all, we're gonna first do this problem. So let's get on with it. So 3 plus 2 is 5. So the answer to this is going to be 5. And we're gonna bring down the rest of the numbers. So we have 10 division sign, multiplication sign, 4 plus 5 to the power of 2. Now we're done with the parentheses part, the P. Now we're going to do the exponent, which is this part right here. So like I said before, the link to my exponent video is going to be right up here in the icon, so just make sure to check that out. So if I solved out this exponent, it would be 5 times 5, which would equal 25. So now the answer to this is 25. And again, I would bring down the rest of the numbers. Okay, so now we're done with the exponent. Now we do multiplication slash division, whichever one is closer to the left side. So even if it says multiplication then division, PEMDAS, this is why you're going to want to put it like this. That doesn't mean you have to do multiplication first. It means that you do multiplication or division first, whichever one is closer to the left side. So if we see here, we have a multiplication problem and we have a division problem. So we're going to do the division problem first because it's closer to the left side. So now we're going to solve out this part. So 10 divided by 5 would be 2, and then we would bring down the rest of the problem. So times 4 plus 25. Now we did the division. Now we do the multiplication because we're still not done with this part. So now we do the multiplication, which is this part. So 2 times 4 would be 8, and then we would bring down the rest of the question, plus 25. Now we're done with the multiplication, so we're done with this whole part. Now we do the addition and subtraction part. But if you see, there is no subtraction, so we're not going to need to worry about that. We just need to do the addition. So if we did 8 plus 24, it would be 33. And that would be your answer. That would be how you do PEMDAS. Now you can stop here at this point. You've learned order of operations, PEMDAS. You're basically done. We're going to talk a little bit more about parentheses towards the end, but mostly you're done. But if you think that the M/the D, like how it's multiplication slash division or addition slash subtraction, whichever one is closer to the left side, if you think that's confusing, there's another way you can do PEMDAS. And it's not actually called PEMDAS. You still get the same answer. It just makes it a lot easier because you have a specific way. You don't have to decide which one comes first. And that's called BODMAS. And the thing with BODMAS is that if you see here, there's a specific way you have to do it. You do division first, then multiplication. It's not like you can do division or multiplication, whichever one's closer to the left side. You have like a specific way to do it. And if I worked out this exact same problem we just worked out before with BODMAS, we would surely get the same answer. But first of all, let's talk about what BODMAS stands for. So the B stands for brackets or parentheses. The O stands for operation or exponents. The D stands for division, M multiplication, A addition, S subtraction. So now that we know what BODMAS stands for, we're going to work out the same question we worked on before using this BODMAS instead of PEMDAS. So let's go ahead and do that. So first we have parentheses like we had before. So we're going to do this parentheses part. And 3 plus 2 again would be 5. And then we're going to bring down the rest of the numbers. So now we're done with the B, brackets. Now we do O, operation or exponents. That means we would do this part. So if we did that, it would again be 5 times 5, which would equal 25. And then we would bring down the rest of the numbers. Next, so we're done with this part. Next we do division. So this time we don't have to choose which one is towards the left side. Now it's okay if you want to do PEMDAS, you don't have to do BODMAS, but I feel like this is a lot easier because you have a fixed way on how to do things. You don't have to decide. Now on with working it out. Now we have to do division, which would be this part here. So if we divided 10 by 5, we would get 2. And then we would bring down the rest of the numbers. So now we're done with the division part. Now we move on to multiplication. And the multiplication problem would be this problem here. And we would bring it down. 2 times 4 would be 8. Then we would bring the rest of the numbers down. And now we're done with multiplication. Now we do addition. So 8 plus 25 would equal 33. And we don't have a subtraction to do, so we're done. And if you recall from the PEMDAS part, we also got 33. And 33 obviously equals 33. So even if you use PEMDAS or if you use BODMAS, you still get the same answer. It's just which one you're comfortable with. I personally like to use BODMAS because I feel like it has a fixed way, but feel free to use whichever one you'd like to. Now we're going to work on a few more examples. Okay, so let's work on a few more questions. And since PEMDAS is easy and a lot of people in America do it, so you can get help on it very easily. Not a lot of people use BODMAS in America, so I'm going to be working on BODMAS on the next examples that I'm doing. Also, one thing I forgot to tell you about BODMAS is if you see here in the exponents part, it can also be the square root. So say if you have a number such as 8 or like that, you would also simplify that when you're doing the exponents part. So that would also be the second step. Okay, so now let's work out an example. And like I said before, I'm going to be using BODMAS for the examples. So the example we're going to be doing is in parentheses 18 divided by 6 times 5 and minus 14 divided by 7. So that's the question. So now this is a good example so that we can learn how to do things if there's like many things to do inside the parentheses. So first thing we have to solve the parentheses. So inside the parentheses, we're going to follow this BODMAS. Okay? So we don't have any operations in the parentheses. And we have a division. So we're going to do division first because that's the first thing that we can do. So if we did the division, it would be this part inside the parentheses. And then 18 divided by 6 is 3, and then we would bring the rest of the numbers down. Okay, so now we're done with the division inside the brackets, and now we have multiplication left to do inside the brackets. So now we have 3 times 5, which is 15, and then we're going to bring the rest of the numbers down. Okay, so now we are done with the brackets. And we are done with the brackets inside the brackets. Now we don't have any operations to do. And we do have a division problem now. Although we did a division inside of the brackets, we still have division left to do outside of the brackets. So our division problem is going to be negative 14 divided by 7. Because we need to keep the sign with that number. Now, if you don't know how to work with negative and positive numbers, then I will leave 2 videos of me explaining how to do that right up here in the icon. So make sure to check that out. So if we did negative 14 divided by 7, that would eventually equal negative 2. And then we would bring the rest of the numbers down. Okay, so now that I've brought in the rest of the numbers down, now we don't have any multiplication left to, so we're done with the division. We don't have any multiplication left to do, no addition. Now we have subtraction. Also, if you don't have any multiplication, addition, or any one of these to do, you just skip it, go on to the next step. So now we only have subtraction left to do, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So 15 minus 2 would equal 13, and this would be your answer. So now if you need any more help on it, it's good to practice it a few times to make sure you get the hang of it. There's lots of practice worksheets online, practice questions. If you have any questions whatsoever, then feel free to comment in the comments down below. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. And also there will be a part 2 to this video where I explain more about parentheses and brackets. So make sure you watch that. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye!